How long has it been since you played jacks or checkers or button on a string? Do you even know what those things are? Well, recently Susan Watson met a lady in Winchester who rediscovered her love for simple toys and games as an adult. And apparently it's a love affair with no ending.
When Crossroads Robertson was growing up on a small farm in Tennessee, she did have this beautiful baby doll, but not a lot of other toys except for the ones she made herself or the products of her imagination. But today, her collection of simple toys numbers well over 1,000 and represents more than 30 countries. This all began back in the 70s while Crossroads was teaching a class to 4-H kids. They told her that watching TV was their favorite activity. Well, she decided to introduce them to the toys and games kids loved before TV. So, with the $10 they had given her for Christmas, she found and bought a Hens a Peckin'.
A Hens a Peckin'. That was one of my favorite toys at my grandmother's when I was a little girl. But when I got this one, it did not have the right sound to it. And so I happened to be in Sewanee one day, and in a little store, in a market basket on the floor was this one, and it was broken. It had no strings, it had no balance to it, and the feathers were gone. And my grandmother's had red feathers. And so my sister had found someone who fixed this one for me. There's the sound of my childhood.
Crossroads quickly realized that she loved these old toys as much, if not more, today as she did as a child.
Regardless of our age, we still have the child in us.
And her inner child is still always on the lookout for new, old toys to buy.
Of course. Just yesterday. And it was an old Japanese toy, but I had seen it and resisted, but I gave in.
Crossroads' travels have taken her to 19 countries, and she's found similarities in many of the toys and games from around the world.
Well, this is called the Acrobats, and I think this is a good example of how you have the same idea, but in different countries and different cultures. In Russia, the bear is an important one. And see, this one is kind of a hand-carved bear. There's a number of American ones there that are different. These two are from Costa Rica, and you have the frog from the rainforest, and you have the toucan, which is a very popular bird there. This one is from Japan. And you see, they use bamboo a lot, where we would use wood.
While traveling in Japan, Crossroads had the good fortune to meet a retired schoolmaster, a kindred spirit who also had a deep appreciation for traditional toys.
When I visited a collector of Japanese toys, he told me there were 3 kinds. There was the religious toy, the storybook toy, and finally the active toys, and this is an example of that. And he gave me this one when I left because he said I made the most noise over this one. Fencing is a girl's game in Japan, and this is a very delicate little toy.
Row after row of beautiful dolls stand ready to be admired in the bookcases in Crossroads' living room. Puzzles of every description fill the shelves in her study. And down in the den, spinning tops and board games line the walls. Production slowed down a bit as our videographer Mike King took time out to show off the skills he had mastered as a child. Director Ken Symington couldn't resist the challenge of 2-person Chinese checkers. And Crossroads showed me her version of the game Mancala, which is quite possibly the oldest board game in the world, known to exist in Egypt before 1400 BC and still popular today from Africa to the Philippines. But none of us knew what this was.
This was my dad's favorite toy, and this is known as the dumb bull, and it was used to play tricks on people. And you've heard about the chivalries. Well, these were often used for chivalries or something of that sort. So imagine a dark, dark night, and you didn't know that there was anybody around.
Crocia admits that collecting toys really is a lot of fun, but she also believes it's important to find and preserve these treasures from the past.
Well, I think it bridges the gap. It gives us an appreciation that, of things. And if these things aren't preserved today, future generations will not know about them. Well, I have no idea why I have been so fortunate to accumulate so many, because I had no idea that anything like that would ever happen. Now the problem is, what am I going to do with them? But I do want them to be where everybody can enjoy them.
In the meantime, Crocia will continue to cherish and collect these simple toys that have always brought a smile to her face and so much joy to her life.
It's been so enriching because I've been able to share it in so many ways. I have traveled. I've had some people say, well, I've never noticed toys like this before, but now I see them. So I couldn't tell you. It's really added a lot of wealth. You win.
Oh, my first Mancala win.